Is there something in the ice? Reports are surfacing of a crashed UAP emerging from the ice in Greenland, just as the United States intensifies its 150-year mission to buy the territory. Is this about national security, strategic positioning, rare earth minerals, or something not of this world?
There's been frequent sightings of anomalous phenomena in and around parts of Greenland where there are, interestingly enough, large deposits of rare earth minerals. Maybe the aliens are as interested in what minerals and resources Greenland has as much as the Americans.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of The Briefing. Welcome to all the new subscribers. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Around here, we pull out all the hidden threads, testimony, history, and evidence most people never even hear about. Also, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the videos. There's been a massive wave of discussion lately regarding the United States' renewed interest in obtaining Greenland, and much of it centers on a single provocative theory: a crashed UAP allegedly frozen deep within the ice. And I've seen these coordinates on Google Maps with people pointing to an anonymous structure emerging from the melting permafrost. But this isn't just a sudden internet trend. Greenland has a long documented history of high-velocity UAP sightings, particularly around the hotspots like 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐿. And while the idea of a frozen craft is a compelling hook, I believe the reality is far more complex. Yes, the island is sitting on a treasure trove of rare earth minerals and uranium that are vital for the next century of technology, but we also have to look at the sheer strategic value of this land, a reason why the United States has been trying to acquire Greenland for nearly 150 years, dating all the way back to the 𝐼𝐸 proposal of 1867. Whether it's about what's flying in the skies, what's buried in the ice, or who controls the Arctic's future, the scramble for Greenland has officially reached a boiling point, and today we're diving into it. So you might have seen it. The grainy, decades-old video currently resurfacing across every platform. It features a man named David Wynn Miller talking about a massive UFO buried deep within the Greenland ice. Watching it, you can't help but feel like you're looking at the real-life storyboard for the thing.
For those of you that don't know, there is a spacecraft that has melted out of the ice in Greenland. As you know, the North Pole has melted completely. You can go from London to Moscow or to Russia by going over the North Pole now. All the ice cap is gone. The last place that has ice on it was Greenland. Greenland had a 18,000-foot ice cap on it. Well, the spacecraft that is anchored in the center of Greenland created the last ice age 50,000 years ago.
The parallel is uncanny, a hidden ancient craft entombed in the permafrost waiting to be found, but the deeper I dug into Miller and his background, the more I realized that this fiction might have some very real and very fascinating roots. To understand what's happening in the Arctic today, we first have to understand who this man was and why his claims are suddenly more relevant than ever. You have to look back at the work of one of the most eccentric figures in modern French history, David Wynn Miller. Miller, who passed away in 2018, was a former tool and die marker turned linguistic architect. He became a legend in the sovereign citizen movement for creating quantum grammar, a complex mathematical-based language he claimed could bypass government control. But buried deep within his 9-hour seminar was a specific reoccurring claim that sounds like it was ripped straight from a sci-fi blockbuster. Miller claimed that a massive ancient spacecraft, what he called a giant moi, has been buried under the Greenland ice cap for eons. He was extremely specific about its location near the center of the island. According to Miller, this wasn't just a crashed ship, it was a dormant piece of technology that influenced the world's energy and even the way we speak, and it's still functional.
It's a weather machine. It's 55 miles wide, 300 miles long, and 2 miles high. The people that lived in it were called the 𝐸𝐻𝐫𝐞. If you draw a straight line from the spacecraft to the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., through the Yucatan Peninsula Great Pyramid at Mitsubishi, it ends up on Easter Island where the 𝐸𝐻𝐫𝐻 have been dug out of this dirt. The heads on Easter Island, well, 2 years ago they finally went ahead and they excavated, and they're all 65 to 85 foot people, full body carvings. And these were the people that lived in the spacecraft that was uncovered that's melting out of the ice in Greenland. So when you think we've been alone, these people have been up there for 50,000 years.
And as a side note here, when I was hearing what people were saying on X, like, oh, well, Trump wants it because of the UFO, I don't believe that, because if we wanted it, we would have just gone and retrieved the ship. I mean, we don't need treaties or official documents, as you have seen, and I, during all my research on this stuff, we have a history of just going into the country and retrieving wreckage, no issue. However, if it is too massive to retrieve and we have to build a structure around it or something like that, then okay, we need the area. But here's where Miller's theory goes from strange to truly global. He didn't just say there was a ship in Greenland, he claimed he knew what the pilots looked like. You only have to look at Easter Island. Miller stated that the famous mole statues, those massive stoic stone heads, are not just art created by an ancient civilization. He claimed they are literal statue portraits of an extraterrestrial crew from the Greenland UFO. In his quantum grammar lecture, he argued that the name of the ship, the giant moi, is linguistically tied directly to the moai statues. And think about the implications. An ancient crew lands on Earth, their ship becomes entombed in the north, while their likenesses are carved in stone thousands of miles away in the south. This connects the two most mysterious locations on Earth through a single ancient event. In 2026, as we see these anomalies appearing on Google Maps in Greenland, the stoic faces on Easter Island take on a whole new meaning. Are they the monuments to the beings we are about to wake up?
Southwest corner of Greenland, there is a small community. It's the only community on the island of Greenland. That community is a military post, CIA, that uses a compressed air generator to operate diesel engines to run a Caterpillar to run back and forth to 200 miles from the base to the object in Greenland. A lot of our technology comes from the reverse engineering out of the spacecraft. It is still functional and is still in operation.
Then fast forward to 2026, and his theories are going viral all over again. Why? Because the satellite image appearing on Google Maps seems to show symmetrical metallic structures emerging from the melting ice in the exact region Miller pointed to years ago. Whether you believe his linguistic theories or not, it's hard to ignore the timing. Just as the ice is reaching record low levels, the object Miller described are seemingly making themselves visible to the world. Is the giant moi finally waking up, or did Miller simply know something about the strategic secrets hidden beneath the Greenland ice that we are only just beginning to uncover? Skeptics say it's a rock formation or a glacier shadow, but the symmetry and the reflective glint have made it the #1 topic in the UAP community this week. Whether it's an ancient relic emerging due to the melting ice or a modern-day cover-up, the world is now watching those coordinates. I mean, this is pretty astonishing. I just wish we had a closer, better look, because the rock is very unusual. It's almost too perfect in shape. Now, I also believe in the Black Pyramid in Antarctica and the bizarre tech that could be hiding beneath the ice, and it actually being used by military contractors. And Miller states this device is still operational, so are we actually using its tech to control the weather or weaponize its technology? Integrating it into our tech or military weapons? Sure makes me think. Now, another thing to note here, which I found fascinating from the interview Ross Coulthart did with this correspondent UFO investigator a few months ago, he brought up the fact of the rare earth minerals, which, by the way, he shares with Ross this amazing footage of a UAP coming up over the mountains.
Of maneuvers. It's sort of the best way I could describe it is when a plane is taxiing out from the gate and to the runway. It does like turns, go this and that direction, and then it enters the runway, and then it sort of shoots away.
But these sightings seem to be frequent around these rare earth mineral areas. He noted the 𝐟𝐸 aerial school sighting. Apparently, there was a mine near the school where the kids saw these creatures. So there seems to be this connection. Maybe they need rare earth minerals for ships or research just like we do. I mean, it's very interesting to think about. In a recent investigative deep dive, Ross Coulthart revealed that the area near 𝐟𝐸 in southern Greenland is a hotspot for daily high-velocity aerial anomalies. And also, I apologize for the pronunciation of this town. It's very difficult. Local air traffic controllers and flight mechanics have documented objects that hover near the ice and then vanish into the thin air at speeds that defy physics.
I got contacted by a now former Greenlandic pilot, and he told me about his own very remarkable UFO encounter during a landing with a helicopter in 𝐼𝐸𝐺. He saw a oval-shaped object hanging near an edge of clouds during the landing in 𝐼𝐸𝐺, which in itself is a very remarkable sighting. But what he also told me was that these objects were actually being seen on a daily basis up there. And not only by local people living there, they were being witnessed by very credible witnesses such as pilots, air traffic controllers.
Even more startling is the footage showing luminous orbs rising directly from the ice caps, appearing to communicate through light flashes before larger motherships emerge. This isn't just an internet rumor, this is testimony from the professionals who manage Greenland's airspace. Is the ice crash on Google Maps the smoking gun, or just a trick of the light? One thing is certain, between the military movements, the scientific interest from Battelle, and the testimony of the locals, Greenland is no longer just a frozen wilderness. It is the front line of the UAP conversation, and we'll have to keep monitoring those coordinates. And what do you think of the Greenland UFO claims? Let me know in the comments below. And that's all I've got for you today, guys. Keep asking questions, stay curious, and keep the conversation alive, and I'll see you on the next briefing.